What's going on, guys, here on the Keep PounDENN post-game? Another fun one here for us on Sundays. For us on Sunday, period, not Sundays. But what's up to you guys that are joining us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook tonight? Again, we do this after every Panthers game. And, hey, hopefully after every Panthers win, we're going to be taking your comments tonight. It's just me tonight. Bobby and Chris aren't here tonight, so I'm going to need you guys to hop in here on the comments. Before we get going, remember, we are part of the Riot Network. Powered by Ortho Carolina, rather, and check out our friends over on the Riot Network. 1-day contract, it is what it is, and the Roaring Riot podcast. Off to a slow start here tonight, but hey, again, it's just me. Hey, what a big win here today by the Panthers. Finally seeing this offense open up, at least in the first half, guys. 42-28 here at Bank of America Stadium. Cam Newton now 5-0 at home in 2018. And I think that's 23-5, if I'm not mistaken, since 2015 at BOA. 2 touchdowns today for Cam, none on the ground. So he didn't get the rushing record, which would be having at least 5 touchdowns in 8 straight seasons. But I think he will accomplish that in the next few games here. So that'll be fun. But hey, to you guys on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, if you guys are joining us tonight, again, join in on the comments. We bring your comments on right on the screen here. We're going to have some fun tonight. If you guys are familiar with the game Cards Against Humanity, well, I got some fun stuff for you. So we're going to go through some of these comments and talk about them. So already I see some people talking about James Bradberry, man. You know, how lucky are we? It's so funny that going into the season, we talked about the secondary, we talked about the offensive line being kind of parts of the weaknesses of this team, and the defensive line obviously not being quote unquote a weakness going into this season. But here we are, 9 weeks in, and we can't stop raving about our secondary, man. Dante Jackson with another big pick today. I agree. Bradberry had one of the best games of his career today. That's you could argue that, shutting down Mike Evans essentially, and this is actually a great point. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. Just Kate over on YouTube. You know, James Bradberry doesn't get a lot of stats. That's actually a good point. Is if you're going to start comparing him with interceptions and whatnot, Bradberry might not be the guy that comes right to mind. But that's a good thing as a secondary player. He's shutting down these guys out there. And we're going to have some fun with him and Jackson. And now Eric Reed, who apparently had a strained shoulder today. Hopefully, or sprained shoulder even. That's okay. So we'll see. Hey, Chris is over on Twitter, so that's fun. But, dude, I don't even know where to start with this game. I mean, who are the Carolina Panthers? Are we a first-half team or are we a second-half team? I have no idea, because the first half of the season, obviously, we get Washington, which should have been a win. You got the Eagles game, which obviously was a big comeback win. But I feel like we're more used to the Panthers who go up big and kind of give us the heart attack in the second half, and that's where you saw that happen today. So I don't know, looking at the stats here, actually Ryan Fitzpatrick and Cam both had almost identical yards. Cam had 247 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick, of course, playing from behind a lot, had 243 yards, 4 touchdowns and 2 picks, and Cam had 2 touchdowns and no picks. And hey, shout out to Bobby. Jameis Winston did not sniff this game. So I still stand pat on the fact that his NFL career is over. If anyone has anything else to say to that, we'll bring that up here. But, I'm going to go through some of these comments. Cam Newton, again, still one of the best in the NFL in the red zone. I haven't checked the stats yet, but granted, Alex Arma bringing 1 carry for 1 touchdown today. Disappointed a lot of people in fantasy, I know that, but I was actually sitting next to some guys who pretty much had every player on the Panthers besides Alex Arma, and to see him barrel through the end zone made me happy, but none of those guys happy at all. So, it's this Panthers team is so fun to watch already, at least in the first half. That Curtis Samuel touchdown, man, I put it out on Twitter. Did that not remind you of Ted Ginn running in that NFC Championship against the Cardinals, where you're like, oh, cool, an end around, it's going to get us a first down. Oh, it's going to get us 20 yards, and all of a sudden he's in the end zone, and you're like, that probably shouldn't have gone in the end zone, but I'm pretty happy about it. Curtis Samuel, of course, 2 touchdowns today. He did have a receiving one as well. DJ Moore, not really touching the stat sheet today, just kind of going through the guys here, referring to my friends in fantasy who usually ask me if they should pick them up or not. But DJ Moore only had 1 reception today and 1 run, so really only touched the ball twice today, which is kind of weird. But Curtis Samuel, of course, making us all a little happy out there. You know, one thing I do want to talk about is Christian McCaffrey, man. You know, they put up that stat on, I don't even know what the game was on today. It might have been Fox, comparing him to Kamara and kind of showing how they almost have identical stats, but their touchdowns are like this, right? And that's what's going to happen when you have Cam Newton as your quarterback. So Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. All of this, though, the biggest problem with all this is this all happened in the first half. And this year, I'm not used to that. And you saw kind of the Panthers going back into that kind of bend, don't break, but they were breaking defense in the second half. But let's bring on some of your comments here. I'm going to go through some of these. Sorry, I haven't even been looking. Good question. How do we lose to the Redskins? You know, the Redskins having a tough game against the Falcons today. It didn't really help us out. The NFC South, I mean, we did the best we could by taking out the Bucs. Saints look good, man. I'm going to be honest. It's going to be a tough division. I picked the Saints to win this division. But, yeah, even the Redskins, I picked the Redskins to beat the Falcons. And it just shows how every week, every team is different. I think that to answer this question, how did we lose to the Redskins? They shut down our run. That's really what happened. And we couldn't figure it out. And I don't know, by the end of the game, they got some good plays to Torrey and whatnot, but couldn't overcome that DJ Moore of the few DJ Moore turnovers. So that was a bummer today. I do want to throw this out there. I feel like I'm the only guy. If you feel like Jameis Winston's NFL career is over like me, let me know. Throw it in the comments. Bobby and Chris don't feel this way. They think he's going to maybe get a start next year or at least an injury start. I don't know. I don't see who takes a waiver or a chance on this guy. They were down 35-7 in the second quarter of this game. Jameis Winston's the first pick of the 2015 draft, and they're not even putting him in. I think that speaks volumes to what they think, and I honestly think the Bucs saved Dirk Cutter's job today. If that game was a blowout, I don't know. That might have been Dirk Cutter's last football game, but they did come back and brought it to 42-28. But I you know how I feel about Jameis Winston. We've been going on that for a while. Let's pull in some of these here. What do we got here? We'll go through some of these comments. Again, if you are on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, let me know what you think tonight. We're gonna bring in all these in and actually have some. You know what? Well, let's do the Cards Against Humanity now. You've probably played that game, Cards Against Humanity. We're gonna have some fun. For instance, I'm gonna throw a card up here like this, and this is what I want your comments on. So, for instance, I want your comments on this. If the Panthers had X, they would Y. Example, if the Panthers had Anquan Boldin, they would never lose. So we'll leave that up there today. If you have a comment to that, let me know what you think. If the Panthers had X, they would, I guess we'll call it Y. Is that the right way to go about that? But you know what? Again, I still think the Panthers only have kind of a shot at the wild card. I'm going to be completely honest with you. With the way the Saints are playing, I do hate that they play the last 2 out of 3 games of the year. I still don't know why the NFL does that. I feel like they don't do that to every other division, but I feel like that's going to be tough to at least play them once. Even getting a split there might be tough for these Panthers. So we'll see. Going through the comments here, man. Hey, Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's only been back. Was this his third game back? I think 2 touchdowns in those games. Not really getting a ton of yards, but putting the ball in the end zone. I think that's huge as far as the Panthers being able to get down the field without him. Really playing a role as far as getting down the field with him, but him being a huge threat in the red zone. I think when this Panthers team gets in the red zone, they're a very tough team to stop. It's always been like that. It's always been we need the guys to get down to the end zone, or the red zone rather. Once they're down there, we don't have a problem. And now we finally see DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel bringing the ball down inside the red zone to where Cam can run those RPOs. Christian can run the ball in. Alex Arma you saw running in, and even Greg Olsen, and we've seen passes to Devin Funchess. So I think we have finally kind of figured out how to get down to the red zone, and now Cam, of course, one of the best in the league in the red zone. So we'll see how that goes. We're going to pull on some of these comments. So, yeah, going on these cards here. If the Panthers had more consistency in red zone stops, they would never lose. That's actually a great point, Terrance, because while the Panthers are one of the best teams offensively in the red zone, they're actually one of the worst teams defensively in their own red zone. So, yeah, and I actually tweeted out today in a Romeo and Juliet fashion. I said, consistency, where art thou, consistency? Because if you watch this team on a weekly basis, you watch a different team every week. And that's not really good, but it's at least exciting in a way. So, I don't know. I agree with that. If they could have more consistency and, something to expect offensively, at least in the first half. The first half offense was incredible. Second half was kind of old school Panthers football where they're trying to run out the clock. So I agree with that. Let's bring in another one here. Hey, if the Panthers can establish a consistent pass rush, they could win the division. And that brings up an awesome point, Justin. I said I wanted them to trade for Bruce Irvin. I actually said they should make a trade offer for Bruce Irvin. Bruce Irvin just got cut by the Raiders. He does have to clear waivers, but I think they still need another weapon in the pass rush. You saw Efe Obada do pretty well today. Mario Addison had a sack. They really contained Ryan Fitzpatrick pretty well when he tried to kind of roll out. I did like that today. I don't think the pass rush itself today was an issue, but I could see what you mean by the whole year, and I do agree. If this Panthers, with the secondary success they're having, and with the linebackers, of course, really everyone's looking at that pass rush almost the same way we were looking at the offensive line. Like, somebody get in there. And I think that, I agree with that. I do think they need another piece to establish that as well. Let's bring some of these more here. Bring in some more of these, rather. You know what? If the Panthers showed, more misdirection, can't even read, they'd be more consistent. Dude, every week it's something new. It's, now, that Curtis Samuel touchdown, again, was one of those plays that had 3 different options. It had an RPO, it had a pitch option, and then it had Curtis Samuel. And you know what? I think they are showing a lot of misdirection. I think it's taken a lot of the year to get to that point. But now, I mean, look how easy that Alex Arma touchdown was, because people are in motion. Christian McCaffrey's going out. There's RPOs. The last person you'd expect to get the ball is Alex Arma. So I think that, the more that they do that, the more you're going to see different people score, and that might piss you off if you're a fantasy guy. If you have Curtis Samuel, if you have Christian McCaffrey, if you have Cam Newton, beware. People like Alex Arma might be getting touchdowns. That's all I got to say. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, we have a few more of these cards. Let's pull another one up. Let's do another one. This is a fun one. Panthers up 35-7 at halftime. At halftime today, I felt X. I personally felt very comfortable. I said, listen, if this team is playing this way at halftime, I mean, we were talking about scoring 50 points. I'm not going to throw out names out there, but we were talking about 50 burgers. And the way that offense was looking, 35 points with, I think it was like 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, looked like this was going to be a runaway. It looked like an NFC championship of 2015. But did you feel nervous at all? Because I didn't at all. Don't get me wrong, years ago or last year even, I would have. But today, for some reason, I felt confident, and maybe that was kind of the wrong way to feel. I don't know about you guys, but we'll bring some more comments on. One thing about Torrey Smith, hey, say what you want about Torrey Smith. I like Torrey Smith. I thought it was a great signing. But 2 weeks in a row now, this offense comes out of the gate running. And you know what's interesting is I think that if Torrey Smith is healthy, I still think that they should play the way they've been playing without him and then insert him situationally at the end of the game. Because we've seen what he can do in Philly. We've seen what he can do in Washington. Torrey Smith is a part of this offense, I think. I'm not going to be the guy that says as long as he doesn't play, Curtis and DJ are going to go off. That's fine. They'll go off in the beginning. As the game goes on, we need to play 4 quarters. In the fourth quarter, Torrey Smith has that experience that I want on the field. So, yes, the offense opens without him, but I would still like to see him inserted into it. That's all. And I think that these few weeks without him being on the field has kind of opened Ron Rivera's eyes and maybe Norv's eyes, I don't know, as to how to start fast. I think if you can get a fast start and then insert Torrey into the offense, it's going to work out. I don't think you're going to get a fast start with Torrey off the bat. That's all I'm saying. We'll see. Coming to this game on Thursday, we do have a short week here. Going into Pittsburgh, I don't know if Torrey will be in there. We'll see. It'd be nice to see Torrey back on the field. I think his leadership as well, especially coming off short weeks too, could be helpful. This will be the first time that DJ Moore especially, but also Curtis Samuel didn't play much last year. Thursday night games are kind of a different breed for a lot of these people. So we'll see how it is. I do think he has a place in this offense. Is it starting the game? Is it running reverses early? No, it's not. So we'll go from there. Hey, let's pull up one more card. What do we got here? This is kind of a fun one. Totally blank. When the Panthers blank, I blank. And we'll throw this to me first. I think that when the Panthers, I'll start the example. I think when the Panthers get the running game going early, I get excited because that's what's going to open it up for Cam. I mean, even Christian McCaffrey today, hey, hats off to Christian McCaffrey. He had some big runs today, and I mean stiff-armed, big moves, hurdling, spin moves, not holes wide open, big runs today that opened up this offense early enough. Didn't do so much in the second half, but I think when the Panthers can get the ground game going early with Christian, it opens it up for everybody. It opens up those plays for Curtis Samuel. It opens up the DJ Moores. It opens up the fake, RPOs, cam rollouts. It opens up the Greg Olsons kind of over the middle when they're covering the sides. So we'll see what you guys think about that one. But just to get into some more stats today, of course, Dante Jackson, man. I mean, how lucky are we to get this guy when we did? I mean, 5 tackles today, an interception, and a pass defense. This guy's the real deal, man, and especially with him and Bradbury. Captain Munolin had a pretty good game today. Really, I don't think you could place any blame on many people in the secondary. Of course, Eric Reed banged up kind of twice this game. I heard he strained his shoulder a little bit. but also playing very well back there in the backfield. Of course, having a pick as well. Dontari Poe even finally getting through that line, and I think the defensive line played pretty well today, especially with a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy that can roll out. A guy that can make, extend plays, especially with some of those guys. Of course, O.J. Howard did have 2 touchdowns today. But let's be real. This team hasn't been great covering the tight end. I don't know. I'm not too concerned with that, especially with the way the score was. But Captain Munnerlyn, your leading tackle today. And actually, you know what? People are saying Thomas Davis, questioning Thomas Davis's play. Well, guess what? Thomas Davis, tied with Captain Munnerlyn, was the leading tackler today with 8 total tackles, 2 solos, and a pass defense as well. He also had a QB hit. So Thomas Davis actually jumping over Luke Kuechly today in the stat sheet. So we'll see how it is. And Shaked calling out Bobby here. Hey, yeah, Bobby, who's not here today. But, yeah, Bobby's best friend, Vernon Butler, had a decent game today. He did get to the quarterback. He had 1 tackle. He had 2 QB hits today, which was actually second best to Mario Addison. So Vernon Butler did show up in the stat sheet today, Shaked. You're right. You're correct. And the one of the things that I do want to talk about, and this is correct, Terrance, is when you start looking at kind of the teams to beat, in this league, of course the Saints come up. Of course the Rams come up. But I think this Panthers team is doing pretty well against what their weapons are. So, for instance, slot corner and tight end, I mean, I don't know. Ben Watson on the Saints, I know he's pretty good, but that doesn't concern me as much as a big tight end, as someone, I don't know, like a Reed or like a Ertz. You know what I'm saying? I think that we can at least get by covering some of the big receivers. Like Mike Evans, you've seen. Julio Jones was pretty much, I don't want to say shut down, but I'm not so concerned with the big receivers anymore. But it is the tight ends, and it's also the slots. Yeah, you're right. So we'll see how this team goes going forward. But let's I think that was our third card tonight. So that was fine. We'll play some more cards. Actually, we'll leave it up here. I kind of like this one. If the Panthers had X, they would what? We'll throw that one. Yeah. Hey, Shaked. Yeah, Pep had a really good game today, man. One thing about Pep is he's so big that it's so, especially for people like Drew Brees, if they can contain him and get Pep in his face. You've seen Ryan Fitzpatrick couldn't throw the ball over him today. Carson Wentz couldn't throw the ball over him to win the game in Philly. So, Julius Peppers, as much as he's not getting the stats, as much as he's not getting sacks and tackles, he's getting in quarterbacks' faces. And I think that's still a huge piece, especially for a guy his size, especially for a guy with his jump rate, radius or whatever you call it, batting down passes. So, good point there about Pep. But what else? Let's go around the league here. Of course, the Falcons did take down the Redskins. Saints, unfortunately, did take down L.A. So, who knows? One thing that came up today was Scott Zolak, but that backup for Drew Bledsoe for most of his career, came out saying, hey, the Saints are somebody or a team that no one's talking about. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe if you're in Patriots Nation up here in Boston, but trust me, if you're in the NFC South, we're talking about the Saints. I don't think it's ridiculous to call the Saints the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, we hate them, obviously. But I don't think that's a stretch. I think they're better than the Chiefs. I think they're better than the Rams. I think that the Saints are the best team in the NFL. They happen to be in our division. Atlanta, of course, beating Washington 38-14 as well. Some big scores here. Some big offenses, 45-35 over the Rams by the Saints. Alvin Kamara and Smith actually had a pretty big game over there as well. But I think it's going to be tough. Of course, going into Pittsburgh on a short week here. Hey, no Le'Veon Bell, though, would be nice. I'll take that. I'll take that all day. Um, Green Bay and New England just kicked off 7-3 New England already. I'm going to go watch that game in a little bit. But, you know, it's actually a good question. When the Saints do play the Panthers, I mean, I think you're seeing a lot of these games. You're seeing a lot of the best teams in the NFL just score on each other. Chiefs, Pats a few weeks ago. Whoever had the ball last. I feel like tonight might come down to that. Green Bay, New England. You're seeing the Saints, Rams 45-35. I mean, I honestly think that that's going to be what we're going to see now in these Panthers Saints games. Granted, they're late in the season, barring any injuries. We'll knock on some wood there, but I think that's what the NFL has become now, is that you're going to see come down to the second half, of course, because we're Panthers, and we're going to see scores over 30. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see both Panthers-Saints games be offensive shootouts, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe because they're divisional games, they're different, but we'll see. The Saints do have I don't know. Great. I was literally just saying this. I think the Saints are a little more complete as far as they have a little more pieces. They really have two running backs, even though that we are supposed to have two running backs. I don't know what's up with C.J. Anderson, if he's still fighting with you guys on Twitter, but I think that they're having that two running back set. They do have Ben Watson. They do have good receivers, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, of course. I think. Call me out. Call me, all the Brady, all the Rodgers people come at me. I think Drew Brees is the best quarterback as far as active quarterbacks right now, as far as talent. I don't care about rings. I don't care about all that stuff. I think if you put them all up to, who do I want to play against the least? I'll take Brady. I'll take Rodgers. Drew Brees scares me the most, honestly. And I do think, they might be a little more complete than the Panthers as far as a team. But can the Panthers beat the Saints? I think they can. I really do. I just think that it's going to be one of those games where they can't make mistakes. They have to either go 3 and out and punt the ball or whatever. No turnovers, no fumbles, no picks. That's what's going to lose to against the Saints. I think if we play a steady football game, they can beat them. But we'll get into that in the later in the season. Of course, the last 2 games of the season are against the Saints, or 2 out of 3 rather. That's a good question here on Twitter. I'm a Cornelder guy. I don't know. I'm a big Cornelder guy. I think that Cornelder does an amazing job as far as stopping screens, as far as stopping runs. I think that Cornelder, here's a hot take. I think that Cornelder would be an effective cornerback against the Saints. For the reason of containing people like Kamara, containing that check down, containing that screen, staying up on the line and making those plays, versus you get your James Bradburys, you get your Munnerlins and Jacksons downfield. Cornelder isn't going to be the guy that's going to run downfield with people. To me, Cornelder is an excellent, at the line cornerback. I think that he can contain a lot that goes on in the backfield. So I would like to see Corn get the start going into the later part of the season as well. So we got to talk about Graham Gano here, mostly because I want to explain my point. Don't get me wrong on Twitter. I wasn't calling out Graham Gano. I was just calling out the fact that a lot of people say he's 100% in the month of October. As a kicker, that's fine if you can kick field goals. If you miss 2 extra points, you're not 100% as a kicker. That's all I was saying. I don't like people that disregard extra points. So we'll go from there. But yeah, Michael Thomas is going to be a tough matchup for the Panthers. I think, and even Smith as well across the middle. And you saw what happens when you start focusing too much on those guys. I think the Rams found that out today. When you have someone like Benjamin Watson, I think he's 37 years old. You start forgetting about that guy. They do have that as well. In addition to Kamara and Michael Ingram, or Ingram as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm not getting corny, man. I think I've used all my corn puns. I think that's all I got today. So, I mean, not today, but this year. I think there's only so many. So, I try. Am I an undercover Saints fan? No, I just think they're a great team. I think they're a tough team to stop. And like I said, I think that if Corn plays in that game, I feel comfortable. I don't know. We'll see. But hey, let's talk about this Pittsburgh game because it's our first game on a short week. Going into Pittsburgh, kind of a weird team. Beating Baltimore today. Baltimore, I don't know. Maybe that sent John Harbaugh into the hottest seat he's had. But I was joking about not playing Le'Veon Bell. I honestly never thought that he wouldn't be part of this team right now, but it looks like I don't think he would join them on a short week. So, Pittsburgh comes to town. Let's pull up this box score. What do we get in Pittsburgh today? Big Ben, of course, in there. Yeah, Big Ben's still throwing the ball almost 48 times a game. 200 threw the ball 47 times today. 270 yards was the same as Cam. 2 touchdowns. But James Conner, man, another 100-yard game on the ground. We wished for no Le'Veon Bell. But do we want James Conner? Because, look at this guy. 24 carries, 107 yards today. And no touchdowns, though. But they did win this game 23-16 over the Ravens. The Ravens still technically are up in the top of the NFL in rushing defense. So it's definitely not a stat to be ignored. But, this team doesn't really play Pittsburgh well. If you've watched them in the last few years, of course, they play them every preseason, but that doesn't really count, especially the fourth game. But David Tepper returning home might be a big win again for him. But, we'll see. Of course, you got Antonio Brown on the other side. Let's go through here. Juju Smith-Schuster. This isn't going to be an easy task for the Panthers, especially Jesse James. We were talking about the tight ends. I think that Jesse James might pose the biggest threat to this defense out of the 4 of them. Being Schuster, Brown, and Connor and James. Jesse James only had 2 catches today on 3 targets, but he did have 53 yards, and I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Antonio Brown, 5 catches today, 42 yards and a touchdown. The Bucs came in today being the number 1 passing defense, and actually, the Bucs today came into this game being 3 yards behind the greatest show on turf. I don't know if you guys knew that. Behind their pace. So, definitely props to the Bucs as far as being a bad team, but having such a successful pass offense. And you might say that's because they're playing from behind a lot, whatever, but still, no small task as comparing to the greatest show on turf. But, I think that we should be a little more worried, realistically, about these 5-2-1 Steelers coming in. I don't see Bell playing this game. I think this is, that's actually a great point. I think this is the toughest away game, especially with it being on the short week, especially with it being in Heinz Field, and what's probably going to be kind of a chilly night. Might have some winds as well for the kickers. So, both teams coming off big divisional wins. We'll see. And then the Panthers do travel after Pittsburgh to Detroit. So, Detroit's kind of a weird team too. So 2 tough games coming up here for the Panthers. But, yeah, man, I'm excited to see what's going on. What's going on in this New England game? We might end this early tonight and hop on over there unless you guys got anything else to throw in here. But again, Panthers with a big win today, 42-28 in their second divisional game. Of course, the first one didn't go too well. Hey, what's my pick for Pittsburgh, Shaked? It's a good question. for some reason, I feel like off a short week, I don't think the Panthers are going to be as good offensively. And that's just because, I don't know, maybe I'm just used to this team doing that to me. I don't know. I think the Panthers win. I do think they win this game, but I think we see something more like 24-20. I don't think we're going to see the offense. I think we're going to see more of a complete game by the Panthers as far as one half not being, lopsided versus the other. I think we might see kind of an equal scoring game. I don't really know why. It's actually funny that you bring this up, is the C.J. Anderson. I sent out to my guys today. I said bold prediction, C.J. Anderson scores a touchdown today. I don't know what's going on with C.J. Anderson. Obviously, everyone knows the Twitter stuff, kind of blowing up at fans a little bit. But I still think he has a role in this offense. And it's weird seeing people like Alex Arma get the carries and not C.J. Chris does say that C.J. Anderson is our back. If we have a big lead, right, he's your bruiser back. If you're trying to run the clock out but still gain yards, he should be your guy. And we haven't really seen that. I don't really... It makes sense on paper as far as calling him that, but I don't know if the Panthers are using him like that. And I don't know. Yeah, it's... I would like to say we're going to need CJ in Pittsburgh, but the Panthers haven't shown us that they need CJ. So, as far as the Twitter stuff with CJ Anderson, you can look it up. Just go check him out on Twitter. He got into some stuff with Panthers fans. Didn't like us using the term "we" when we refer to the team, and kind of calling him out for talking about next year already. I don't know. It almost sounded like he was talking his way out of this team. I don't really know. I don't have any inside information, but you can look it up. It's a public thing over there. So, it looks like he. You know what? It's actually a great point. When CJ came in, we're all kind of accustomed to the two-back offense, the two-headed monster, if you will. D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Christian McCaffrey, not C.J. Anderson. You're right. He has kind of become the backup to Christian McCaffrey. And Bobby said it best. He said, I get it. When when Christian McCaffrey's on the field and you line up, you can send him in motion. You can bring him back. Teams aren't going to know what you're doing. If you put C.J. Anderson back there, I don't think it has the same effect as far as especially the pregame snap. The pre-snap stuff, rather. So, I don't know if he's really a backup role or that they just don't have enough spots on the field for him. It's tough. It's a tough call. I don't not like C.J. Anderson. Obviously, we've seen what he can do in the Bengals game. And then also in the Falcons game, he took a ball off the face. So we kind of have the whole spectrum with C.J. Anderson. And yeah, a lot of people forget that, Fozzie Whitaker still is on this team. And, if the year goes by and maybe C.J. comes and goes, he's kind of playing not even that Fozzie role, but when he is playing that Fozzie role, it's an interesting topic, at least. I think it's definitely worth talking about. And I think a lot of people thought that CJ might be a trade piece at the deadline as well. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, we're gonna wrap it up here. Again, if you have any final comments, throw them in. We'll throw them up on the screen here. Cam Newton, of course, did have 19 of 25 today, 247 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was Cam, I think this is his, let me bring it up here. What was that stat? This is 7 straight weeks of 2+ touchdowns for Cam Newton, almost every week this season. So there you go, completion percentage, bros. Again, 7 straight weeks. He also needs one more rushing touchdown, like I said, to have more than 5 in 8 straight seasons a record set by only, I don't have it in front of me, but some of the greats in the NFL. And shout out to Slick Nick for bringing that to my attention. So, and yeah, Chiquetta, I know that Fozzie can't return this season. We'll bring that up here. I'll hide Cam here. There we go. Yeah, I'm just saying that CJ's kind of playing the role that he used to play, but even not even to that effect. So I don't really know where his stance on this team is. But hey, you're right. Hey man, how about those vicious Cam stiff arms today? Some sweet pictures by Kevin Ketchy over on the Riot Report. Go check them out. Cam stiff arming people. You know, your QB could never was being thrown out there. And hey, yeah, we are 6-2. Not getting any respect. But do you guys expect any respect? I don't. This team goes MVC, as Colin Cowherd said. This is Cam's best season to his own abilities, but not MVP. So we'll see. I mean, we one of the things that does come up as well is kind of where the Panthers' window is at. Because you start throwing out names like Cameron Artis-Payne, I see that in the comments, but Devin Funchess. I don't think that this team can afford what other teams are going to give to Devin Funchess next year. So when you start looking at the Panthers' offense, who's producing? Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore, Olsen, who knows how long Greg Olsen will play. Ian Thomas is behind Olsen. You're kind of seeing this year not only a successful offense, but a successor offense. DJ Moore, Ian Thomas, who will be the backup to, let's say, I don't know, linebackers even. I mean, Andre Smith, Jermaine Carter Jr. out there. So I know they're not playing, but at the same time that this Panthers team is having success, I think that you have to start thinking successors as well. The window is, Josh, right now. I think they have a lot of guys who are in right now mode, especially with Thomas Davis announcing this being his last year, and the cap situation. I think that the Panthers do have a very tight win now mentality, and I think you're seeing that out of Cam a lot. So, we'll see how it goes. You know, if they can, and one thing that makes a team. One thing that kind of defines a team is the ability, I think, to play on a short week too. So coming off this big win, I'll call it a big win, being up 35-7. People are calling it a bad win where they almost let it slip away. I'll say they only let it slip away a little bit once they got the ball and they know they needed to go up one more score. They got it done. So I wouldn't call it a bad win, but I think this was a strong win. I think what defines a good team versus a great team is being able to take that good win, even though it's not the way you wanted it, and being able to still win just a few days later. I think that what they do in Pittsburgh on Thursday night will show us kind of really where this team stands with resiliency, with being to game plan quickly, with being to get able to get guys involved, etc. So I think Thursday is a big game for them, even though it is out of division and out of conference, of course. So, anyway, we're gonna watch the rest of this Pats game. We're gonna be back on Thursday or Wednesday rather. We're gonna do a podcast on Wednesday. We'll put it out on Thursday. You guys can listen to it on the pregame. Sorry, Bobby and Chris weren't with me tonight. Usually they are with me, but we're gonna roll on into Pittsburgh, and then we're gonna roll on to Detroit. Any of you guys going to Detroit, I'll be there, so come hang out. We'll be doing this live, and again, we have a few weeks open. Where's my thing here? Let's see. Hey guys, we get weeks 15, 16, and 17 open for NFL picks. If you guys want to join us, pick against us. We pick against the spread every week. Me, Chris, and Bobby. We take a guest on every week. We're actually thank you guys for hopping on very quickly to those DMs last week. We're filled up through week 13, but we got weeks 14, 15, 16, and 17 open. I lied. We have weeks 15, 16, 17 open. Week 14 just got filled up. So we have 3 weeks. If you guys want to hop on with us, we will we'll throw you in there. send me a direct message. Please don't put it in the comments here because I'll totally miss it. But DM me at Keep PounDEN. Bobby's at Tacos and Slurpees. And Chris is at PepperJack NBB. And we'll take you on, man. Shout out to Josh Gilmore. He has the best week, 12-2. If any of you guys can go better than 12-2, good luck. That's pretty good against the spread. Bobby called him the Ryan Fitzpatrick of the NFL picks. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go watch this game, and we'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. You guys have a good night, and keep pounding.